My name is Clara Bennett. I'm 29, and last spring, I learned how silence can destroy a heart faster than words ever could. I remember sitting in the hospital parking lot, fingers trembling, as the doctor's words echoed in my head. No heartbeat. I texted my husband. The baby's heartbeat stopped. Then I waited. 1 minute. 3, 10. When his reply finally came, it wasn't grief. It wasn't love. It was something that made my blood run cold. The message glowed on my screen like a wound. Maybe it's for the best. That's what he said. 6 words, no call. No, are you okay? No, I'm coming. Just that. I stared at it, waiting for him to add something. Anything that could make those words less cruel. But the typing dots never came. That night, I drove home in silence. The rain followed me like a shadow, tapping the windshield in a slow, pitiful rhythm. The nursery light was still on when I pulled into the driveway, a soft yellow glow behind white curtains. The mobile above the crib spun gently from the air vent, as if mocking me. Ethan was in the living room, feet up, scrolling on his phone. The TV flickered with a game replay. A beer can sat half-finished beside him. I stood there for a moment, soaked and shivering. He looked up, expression blank. "Hey," he said. "You're back. Back, not what happened. Not, I'm so sorry. Just back." I sank onto the couch opposite him, my hospital bracelet still clinging to my wrist. "The doctor said it was over," I whispered. Ethan didn't look up. "Yeah," I figured. "You said the heartbeat stopped." He said it like we'd lost a package in the mail, not a child. When I didn't reply, he sighed. "Clara, you knew this could happen. Stress, your job, your body, my body." I cut in. My voice cracked. "I'm just saying maybe we weren't ready," he muttered, eyes back on his screen. "It's not the end of the world." I stared at him, numb. The man I married, the man who used to leave love notes in my lunch, couldn't even look at me. We'd been married 3 years. In the beginning, Ethan was warm, steady, and funny, with that kind of charm that makes people trust you instantly. We met at a friend's engagement party. He'd spilled wine on my dress, apologized like it was the end of the world, and spent the rest of the night trying to make me laugh. For a long time, he did. But something changed after the wedding. His hours got longer. His smile is shorter. He started spending more time at the office, always with the same excuse: deadlines, clients, stress. And when I told him about the pregnancy, his reaction was off. He smiled, yes. But it didn't reach his eyes. He hugged me, but his hands were cold. At first, I convinced myself it was fear, the kind all men feel when life gets real. But now, sitting across from him as he scrolled through his phone, I saw it clearly. He hadn't wanted this baby, and maybe he didn't want me either. The next morning, I found him in the kitchen, already dressed for work. He was humming as he buttered toast. I stood there watching him like he was a stranger. "I have the follow-up appointment on Friday," I said quietly. He nodded. "Cool. Just text me if you need me." Need him. The words felt hollow. That day, I called my sister Mia. She lived 2 towns over. Always the practical one, the kind who kept Band-Aids in her purse and solutions in her tone. When she heard my voice, she knew. "Oh, Clara," she whispered. "I'm so sorry." "I'm fine," I lied. "No, you're not," I swallowed hard. "He didn't care, Mia. He actually said it's for the best." Silence. Then a sharp inhale. "He what?" "Exactly that. Clara, that's not normal. Something's wrong with him." I didn't want to believe it. Not yet, but then Mia said something that lodged itself in my chest. "People show you who they are in the moments they can't control. And he just showed you." That night I tried to talk to him again, to bridge whatever was left. He was on the balcony smoking, something he only did when he thought I wasn't watching. "I miss her already," I said softly. He didn't turn around. "Clara, please. Let's not do this." "Do what?" "Talk like it was a real baby." I froze. "She was real." He exhaled a cloud of smoke. We didn't even know if it was a boy or girl. It was a bunch of cells. Stop torturing yourself. That was the moment something inside me cracked. Not just grief, something deeper. A kind of clarity that only comes when your heart finally stops defending the wrong person. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I just walked back inside, closed the door, and sat in the dark. I thought about the baby clothes still folded in the drawer, the ultrasound photo taped to the fridge, the tiny shoes Mia had bought me for good luck, all symbols of a future that died, not just with the baby, but with the man standing outside, too busy blaming the universe to feel anything human. The next few days were a blur of condolences and silence. My mother called, my friends sent flowers. Ethan didn't answer any of them. When people came by, he'd disappear to get some air. That Friday, I went to my appointment alone. When I came home, his car wasn't in the driveway. But his laptop was still open on the counter, and maybe it was grief or curiosity or something darker that made me look. I shouldn't have, but I did. There was a string of messages, dozens, to someone named R. The most recent one read, "It's done. She lost it. We're free. Free." The word hit me harder than any diagnosis ever could. That's when I knew. My story wasn't about losing a baby anymore. It was about losing my illusions. And maybe finding something far colder in return. I read that message over and over until the words blurred. It's done. She lost it. We're free. Free from what? From me? From our child? My hands shook as I scrolled. The conversation stretched back weeks. Photos, late-night texts, plans. Her name was Rachel. She worked at his firm. Her messages were filled with hearts, promises, and things that made my stomach twist. When are you telling her? Soon. She's pregnant. It's complicated. You said you didn't even want that baby. I don't. She'll realize it wasn't meant to be. I remember the sound of my breathing. Fast, uneven, animal-like. The walls of our kitchen closed in. Everything suddenly made sense. His coldness, the distance, the empty looks. He hadn't been detached because of grief. He'd been waiting for it. And when it came, he felt relieved. I wanted to scream. To throw his laptop through the window. But I didn't. Instead, I sat there in silence. And I planned. That night, Ethan came home smelling like cologne that wasn't his. He kissed my cheek absently, then headed straight to the shower. I followed him with my eyes, memorizing the man I once thought I'd grow old with. When he came out, towel slung low on his hips, I asked quietly, "Was she worth it?" He froze. "What are you talking about?" I held up his laptop. Rachel, his jaw tightened. "You shouldn't have gone through my stuff." I laughed, a brittle sound. "That's what you have to say?" He ran a hand through his hair. "Clara, you were barely holding on. You've been emotional. Don't." And I didn't want to make things worse. "By cheating on me while I carried your child?" I snapped. He looked away. That silence was confirmation enough. "I didn't want this to happen," he said finally. "It just did." "You mean she just fell into your bed?" He glared. "You don't understand." Things were bad. You were obsessed with the baby, the house, everything being perfect. I felt like you forgot about us. Us. The same us he'd destroyed and buried under lies. I walked past him, my voice low and calm. Too calm. "Don't worry, Ethan. I understand perfectly now." Over the next few days, I pretended. I made coffee. Cooked dinner. Smiled when he spoke. He thought it meant I was forgiving him. But behind every quiet nod, every soft word, I was learning. I learned where he kept his passwords. When he met Rachel, lunch breaks on Thursdays, hotel on Fridays. I learned she drove a blue sedan and wore the necklace I had given him on our second anniversary. And I learned something else too. Rachel was married. Her husband, from what I could gather on her social media, was a firefighter. His name was Luke. Broad-shouldered, honest eyes. I wondered if he knew. So one night, when Ethan was working late, I drafted an email. Attached screenshots, dates, photos. I didn't sign it. Just wrote, he deserves to know the truth. From one broken heart to another. Then I hit send. The next morning, Ethan was pacing the kitchen, phone in hand, face pale. Someone told Rachel's husband, he said. He came to the office. It was bad. I sipped my coffee slowly. Oh? He turned to me, suspicious. You didn't? I raised an eyebrow. Didn't what? He stared at me for a long time. Then shook his head. Forget it. But I saw it in his eyes. The first flicker of fear. That night he didn't go to Rachel. He didn't even look at his phone. He just sat in silence while I folded laundry, the faint sound of the TV filling the void. For the first time in months, I felt something strange. Not sadness. Not anger. Control. The truth had started to unravel, and I was holding the thread. But what he didn't know yet was this. I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. The moment I saw fear flicker behind Ethan's eyes, I knew I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was building something for weeks. I played the perfect wife. Quiet, gentle, forgiving. I cooked his favorite meals, asked about work, even smiled when he came home late, pretending not to notice the smell of cheap perfume lingering on his collar. He thought I was broken. But I was documenting everything. The receipts from hotel stays. The transfer he'd made to Rachel's personal account. The texts that proved their affair began long before I lost the baby. Piece by piece, I built a truth so sharp it could cut him open. One evening, as he showered, I copied all his messages onto a flash drive. Then I went to the guest room, my new hiding place, and opened my laptop. By morning, I had created an email folder titled "To Whom It May Concern." It contained everything. Screenshots of his infidelity, his company emails to Rachel, evidence of money he siphoned from a client's budget for their secret trips because Ethan wasn't just cheating on me. He was cheating at work. I scheduled those emails to send automatically to his boss, his HR department, and the client he'd stolen from. The timer was set for Friday morning at 9 a.m. Then I waited. That Friday, he left for work early. He kissed me on the cheek, murmured, "We'll get through this, okay?" And I smiled, because I already knew what was coming. At exactly 9:03 a.m., the emails went out. By 9:30, he was calling me. By 10 Saturdays, he was home, face pale, shirt wrinkled, phone buzzing nonstop. "What did you do, Clara?" He shouted. I looked up from my cup of tea. "Me? I was just here. They fired me. The client's threatening legal action." "Oh no," I whispered. "That sounds awful." He stared at me like he was seeing me for the first time. "You ruined my life," I tilted my head. "No, Ethan, you ruined ours. I just handed you the mirror." For the next few days, he spiraled. The confident, arrogant man who once towered over me now slumped through the house, angry and desperate. Rachel stopped answering his calls. Her husband had filed for divorce. She quit the firm. It was as if the universe had decided to finish what I'd started. Then came the final act. I filed for divorce. Quietly, efficiently. When he found the papers on the table, he laughed bitterly. "You think you'll walk away from this clean?" I met his eyes. "I already have," he tried to beg. Tried to twist it back. Blame, guilt, tears. But I'd already grieved the worst thing that could happen to me. And once you've buried a child, no man's lies can break you again. Before I left, I went into the nursery one last time. The mobile still hung there, turning slowly, dust floating in the light. I whispered, "We're free now." Not the kind of free he meant, but the kind that comes when you finally stop waiting for someone to love you the way you deserve. The day I left, the house felt quieter than ever. Not empty, but hollow. It was early morning. The kind of stillness where even the walls seemed to hold their breath. I took one last look around the living room. The sofa where we once laughed until midnight. The table where we dreamed up baby names. The hallway where our life was supposed to begin. Now, it was just furniture and ghosts. I closed the door softly behind me, like sealing a chapter that never deserved to be written. Mia helped me move into her spare room. She didn't ask for details at first, she just hugged me. The kind of hug that says, "You don't have to be strong right now." For days, I barely spoke. I went through the motions, work, sleep, coffee, repeat, like a machine running on leftover sorrow. Then one night, Mia came in with her gentle firmness. "You can't keep shrinking yourself to fit what he broke, Clara." I looked up from my mug. "I'm not shrinking. I'm surviving," she sat beside me. "There's a difference." Her words stayed with me. That weekend, I opened a folder on my computer labeled Baby Bennett. Inside were ultrasound scans, doctor notes, and a photo of the tiny socks I'd bought after the first appointment. I cried. Not the loud kind, but the deep, trembling kind that happens when your heart finally gives permission. And when it was over, I didn't feel hollow. I felt lighter, because grief, when faced instead of avoided, doesn't disappear. It transforms. A few weeks later, Ethan tried to call. I didn't answer. Then came the texts. "Can we talk? I miss you. You ruined my life, Clara. Please, I need you." Each one is shorter, sharper, more desperate. I never replied. He sent one last message. Just 3 words. "You'll regret this." But the truth was, I didn't. He'd already lost everything that ever made him powerful. Control. And I had gained something far greater. Peace. 3 months passed. I started therapy, something I used to think was only for people who couldn't handle pain. Turns out it's for people who finally want to. I talked about everything. The miscarriage, the betrayal, the guilt that clung like smoke. My therapist told me something that changed everything. Closure isn't when the pain stops. It's when you stop needing answers. That day I deleted his number. Not out of anger, out of indifference, because there's nothing left to say when the story's already over. One afternoon, I visited the small park near our old house, the one where I used to imagine taking our baby someday. There was a woman there, cradling her newborn under the shade of a tree. For a moment, I felt the sting again, that ache that never quite leaves. But this time, instead of bitterness, I felt something else. Love. Pure, detached love. For what could have been, and for what still might be someday. I placed a small white flower near the lake. No note, no ceremony. Just a whisper to the wind. "For you," I said softly, and for the first time in months, I smiled because forgiveness, I realized, isn't about him. It's about freeing myself from the version of me that kept begging for his apology. I didn't need his remorse. I just needed myself. By winter, I had my own apartment. Small, sunlit, filled with plants that somehow refused to die even when I forgot to water them. Sometimes, when the light hit the walls just right, I'd catch my reflection in the window. Calm, steady, alive, not the woman who lost a baby, not the wife who was betrayed, just Clara. One evening, Mia and I sat on the balcony, watching the city hum below. She asked, "Do you ever think about him?" I took a slow breath. "Sometimes. And what do you feel?" I smiled faintly. "Grateful," she frowned. "Grateful?" "Yes," I said. "Because if he hadn't broken me, I would have never rebuilt myself right." As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in soft gold, I thought about the message that started it all. The baby's heartbeat stopped. Once, those words shattered me. Now they remind me of something else. That sometimes, what dies isn't the end of life. It's the end of illusion, and when illusion dies, truth begins to breathe again. So if you ever find yourself waiting for someone to care, to change, to see you, stop waiting. Because the most powerful revenge is not destruction. It's becoming everything they never thought you could survive being: alive, peaceful, free.